Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life, and you will call it fate. Carl Jung. Introduction. The science behind creating reality. Welcome to the neuroscience of manifestation, how your brain creates reality. I'm your guide through this fascinating exploration of how modern neuroscience validates and explains the mechanisms behind manifestation, visualization, and the power of focused intention. For centuries, humans have intuitively understood that our thoughts shape our reality. Ancient wisdom traditions, from Buddhist mindfulness to Hermetic principles, have long taught that consciousness plays a fundamental role in creating our experiences. Today, cutting-edge neuroscience is revealing the biological mechanisms that make this possible. This audiobook bridges the gap between ancient wisdom and modern science. We'll explore how your brain literally rewires itself based on your thoughts, how visualization activates the same neural networks as actual experiences, and how focused intention can influence both your internal state and external circumstances. You'll discover that manifestation isn't mystical wishful thinking. It's a sophisticated neurological process involving multiple brain systems working in harmony. From the prefrontal cortex's executive functions to the limbic system's emotional processing, from neuroplasticity to quantum consciousness theories, we'll examine every aspect of how your brain creates your reality. Whether you're a skeptic seeking scientific explanations or a practitioner wanting to optimize your manifestation abilities, this book provides the neurological foundation for understanding how consciousness shapes experience. We'll explore practical applications backed by peer-reviewed research, case studies from neuroscience laboratories, and techniques that harness your brain's natural ability to create the reality you desire. Prepare to discover that your brain is not just observing reality, it's actively constructing it, moment by moment, thought by thought. The science of manifestation is the science of consciousness itself, and understanding this process gives you unprecedented power to shape your life experiences. Chapter 1. The Neuroscience Foundation of Reality Creation. Understanding the brain's role in perception. The human brain is not a passive receiver of information but an active constructor of reality. Every moment, your brain processes approximately 11 million bits of sensory information while consciously attending to only about 40 bits. This means that 99.99% of your reality is being filtered and constructed by unconscious neural processes. This filtering mechanism, known as the reticular activating system, is your brain's way of managing information overload. Located in the brainstem, the reticular activating system determines what information deserves conscious attention based on your current focus, beliefs, and emotional state. This is why when you're thinking about buying a red car, you suddenly notice red cars everywhere. They were always there, but your brain wasn't filtering them into conscious awareness. The implications for manifestation are profound. Your brain literally creates your subjective reality by selecting which aspects of the infinite information field to bring into conscious awareness. This process is not random but is guided by your dominant thoughts, beliefs, and emotional patterns. Understanding this mechanism is the first step in learning to consciously direct your reality creation process. The predictive brain theory. Modern neuroscience has revealed that your brain operates as a prediction machine. Rather than simply reacting to stimuli, your brain is constantly generating predictions about what will happen next based on past experiences, current context, and stored patterns. This predictive processing occurs milliseconds before conscious awareness, meaning your brain is literally creating your experience of reality before you're consciously aware of it. The predictive brain theory explains why visualization and mental rehearsal are so effective. When you vividly imagine a desired outcome, your brain's predictive systems begin generating neural patterns that match those expectations. These patterns then influence how you perceive and interact with your environment, creating a feedback loop that tends to manifest the predicted reality. Research by Dr. Andy Clark and Dr. Jakob Howe has shown that the brain's predictive systems are remarkably plastic. They can be trained to generate new predictions through repetitive visualization, affirmation, and focused attention. This neuroplasticity is the biological foundation of manifestation. Your brain can literally learn to predict and create new realities. Neural networks and consciousness. Consciousness emerges from the complex interactions between multiple neural networks. The default mode network, active during rest and introspection, is particularly important for manifestation. This network, discovered by Dr. Marcus Reichel, includes brain regions associated with self-referential thinking, autobiographical memory, and envisioning future scenarios. When you engage in visualization or manifestation practices, you're activating and strengthening connections within the default mode network. This network then influences other brain systems, including the executive control network responsible for goal-directed behavior and the salience network that determines what deserves attention. The interplay between these networks creates a unified conscious experience while simultaneously shaping your perception of reality. By understanding how to deliberately activate and direct these networks, you can influence the content of consciousness itself, effectively programming your brain to create desired experiences. The neurochemistry of belief. Beliefs are not abstract concepts but concrete neural patterns with measurable neurochemical correlates. When you hold a belief, specific neural pathways become activated, releasing neurotransmitters that reinforce the belief and influence your perception of reality. Dopamine, serotonin, oxytocin, and other neurochemicals create the internal state that supports or undermines your manifestation efforts. Strong positive beliefs activate the brain's reward systems, releasing dopamine and creating feelings of motivation and possibility. This neurochemical state enhances pattern recognition, increases openness to opportunities, and improves performance, all factors that contribute to successful manifestation. Conversely, limiting beliefs activate stress responses, releasing cortisol and adrenaline that narrow perception and reduce creative problem-solving abilities. The placebo effect demonstrates the power of belief to create physiological changes. When patients believe they're receiving effective treatment, their brains release endorphins, activate immune responses, and create measurable healing effects. This same mechanism operates in manifestation. Your beliefs about what's possible literally change your brain chemistry and influence your reality. Mirror neurons in manifestation. Mirror neurons, discovered by Dr. Giacomo Rizzolatti, fire both when you perform an action and when you observe someone else performing the same action. These neurons create a neural simulation of observed experiences, allowing you to understand and empathize with others. Recent research suggests that mirror neurons also activate during visualization and mental rehearsal. When you visualize yourself achieving a goal, your mirror neurons fire as if you were actually performing the actions required to achieve that goal. This creates neural patterns that prepare your brain and body for the actual experience. The more vivid and detailed your visualization, the stronger the mirror neuron response and the more prepared you become for manifesting your desired reality. This mirror neuron mechanism explains why visualization is most effective when it includes sensory details, emotional content, and embodied experience. Your brain cannot distinguish between a vividly imagined experience and a real one at the neural level, making visualization a powerful tool for programming your reality creation systems. The quantum mind connection. While controversial, emerging research suggests that quantum effects may play a role in consciousness and reality creation. Dr. Roger Penrose and Dr. Stuart Hameroff's orchestrated objective reduction theory proposes that consciousness emerges from quantum processes in microtubules within neurons. Though still debated, this theory suggests that consciousness might have quantum properties that could influence reality at a fundamental level. Quantum entanglement, superposition, and observer effects, phenomena well established in quantum physics, might have parallels in consciousness and manifestation. The act of conscious observation appears to collapse quantum possibilities into definite realities, suggesting that consciousness plays an active role in reality creation. While the quantum consciousness connection remains speculative, the parallels between quantum mechanics and manifestation are intriguing. Both involve the role of observation in determining outcomes, the interconnectedness of all phenomena, and the possibility that consciousness influences physical reality through non-local mechanisms. Neuroplasticity and reality reconstruction. Neuroplasticity, the brain's ability to reorganize itself throughout life, is the foundational mechanism that makes manifestation possible. Your brain continuously rewires itself based on your experiences, thoughts, and behaviors. This means that you can literally reshape your neural architecture to support new realities. Dr. Norman Doidge's research on neuroplasticity reveals that the brain remains malleable throughout life. New neural connections form within hours of learning, while repeated experiences create lasting structural changes. This plasticity extends to all aspects of brain function, from perception and memory to emotional regulation and decision-making. For manifestation, neuroplasticity means that you can train your brain to perceive and create new realities. Consistent visualization, affirmation, and focused attention literally rewire your neural networks to support desired outcomes. The key is repetition and emotional engagement, which strengthen synaptic connections and create lasting change. The role of attention in reality creation. Attention is the mechanism through which consciousness shapes reality. What you pay attention to literally grows in your brain, neural pathways associated with attended experiences become stronger, while unused pathways weaken. This selective strengthening shapes your perception, memory, and future experiences. The anterior cingulate cortex and prefrontal cortex work together to direct attention and maintain focus. These brain regions can be trained through meditation, visualization, and mindfulness practices to become more stable and directed. The stronger your attention, the more effectively you can direct your reality creation processes. Research by Dr. Michael Posner and Dr. Tangyi Yuan demonstrates that attention training creates measurable changes in brain structure and function within weeks. These changes include increased gray matter density in attention-related regions, improved emotional regulation, and enhanced executive control, all factors that support successful manifestation. The social brain and collective reality. Human brains are fundamentally social organs, constantly attuning to and influencing other people's mental states. This social synchronization creates collective realities that can either support or hinder individual manifestation efforts. Understanding the social neuroscience of reality creation is crucial for effective manifestation. Positive emotions like joy, gratitude, and love activate the brain's reward systems and broaden perception, making you more likely to notice opportunities and possibilities. Negative emotions like fear, anger, and sadness narrow attention and activate defensive responses that limit manifestation potential. The key is learning to consciously generate positive emotional states that support your desired reality. Dr. Barbara Fredrickson's research on positive emotions reveals that they create upward spirals of well-being, expanding awareness and building psychological resources. These positive spirals create optimal conditions for manifestation by enhancing creativity, resilience, and openness to new experiences. Chapter 2. The Neurobiology of Intention and Focus. Understanding intention as a neural state. Intention is not merely a mental concept but a specific neural state characterized by coordinated activity across multiple brain networks. When you form a clear intention, your prefrontal cortex activates goal-directed neural circuits while simultaneously inhibiting competing thoughts and impulses. This creates a focused neural state that primes your brain for manifestation. The formation of intention involves the anterior cingulate cortex, which monitors conflicts between different possible actions, and the dorsolateral prefrontal cortex, which maintains goal representations in working memory. These brain regions work together to create what neuroscientists call top-down control, the ability to direct your thoughts and actions toward specific outcomes. Research by Dr. Michael Gazzaniga reveals that intention emerges from the brain's interpreter system, primarily located in the left hemisphere. This system creates coherent narratives about your goals and motivations, providing the cognitive framework necessary for sustained manifestation efforts. The stronger and more coherent your intention, the more effectively it can guide your reality creation process. The neuroscience of goal setting. Goal setting is a sophisticated neurological process that involves multiple brain systems working in coordination. When you set a goal, your brain creates a representation of the desired future state and compares it to your current situation. This comparison activates motivational systems that drive behavior toward goal achievement. The prefrontal cortex maintains goal representations in working memory, while the anterior cingulate cortex monitors progress toward those goals. The dopaminergic system provides motivational energy, releasing dopamine when you make progress and creating the drive to continue. The basal ganglia learn action patterns that support goal achievement, while the cerebellum refines these patterns through repetition. Effective goal setting for manifestation involves creating specific, emotionally engaging, and personally meaningful objectives. Vague goals fail to activate the brain's goal pursuit systems effectively, while overly complex goals overwhelm working memory capacity. The optimal approach involves setting clear, specific goals that align with your values and trigger strong emotional responses. Focus and attention control. Focus is the ability to sustain attention on chosen objects while inhibiting distracting stimuli. This capacity is mediated by the attention networks of the brain, including the alerting network, orienting network, and executive control network. These networks can be trained through specific practices to become more stable and directed. The alerting network, involving the locus ceruleus and related structures, maintains vigilant awareness and readiness to respond. The orienting network, including the superior parietal cortex and frontal eye fields, directs attention to specific locations or objects. The executive control network, centered in the anterior cingulate cortex, resolves conflicts between competing stimuli and maintains focus on relevant information. Training these attention networks through meditation, visualization, and mindfulness practices creates measurable improvements in focus and concentration. Dr. Wenzel Braver's research demonstrates that attention training increases activity in prefrontal control regions while reducing activity in default mode network regions associated with mind wandering. The default mode network and manifestation. The default mode network, active during rest and introspection, plays a crucial role in manifestation. This network includes the medial prefrontal cortex, posterior cingulate cortex, and angular gyrus, and is associated with self-referential thinking, autobiographical memory, and future planning. Understanding how to work with this network is essential for effective manifestation. When the default mode network is functioning optimally, it supports creative visualization, positive self-talk, and constructive future planning. However, when dysregulated, it can generate repetitive negative thoughts, rumination, and limiting beliefs that undermine manifestation efforts. The key is learning to consciously direct default mode network activity toward positive, goal-supporting content. Meditation and mindfulness practices can regulate default mode network activity, reducing negative rumination while preserving its positive functions. Dr. Judson Brewer's research shows that experienced meditators have decreased default mode network activity during rest, suggesting better control over self-referential thinking. Working memory and reality construction. Working memory is the brain's temporary storage system for information that needs to be manipulated or used in complex cognitive tasks. This system, primarily located in the prefrontal cortex, plays a crucial role in manifestation by maintaining goal representations and coordinating complex visualization exercises. The capacity of working memory is limited. Most people can hold only about 7 items simultaneously. This limitation means that effective manifestation requires focusing on specific, well-defined goals rather than trying to manifest multiple complex outcomes simultaneously. The more clearly you can define your desired reality, the more effectively your working memory can support the manifestation process. Dr. Patricia Carpenter's research reveals that working memory capacity can be improved through training. Exercises that challenge working memory, such as complex visualization tasks or attention-demanding meditation practices, can increase capacity and improve manifestation effectiveness. The neuroscience of visualization. Visualization activates the same neural networks as actual perception, creating vivid mental experiences that the brain processes as if they were real. This process involves the visual cortex, parietal cortex, and temporal cortex, which work together to create detailed mental imagery. The more vivid and detailed your visualization, the stronger the neural activation and the more effective the manifestation process. The process of visualization also activates the motor cortex when you imagine performing actions, creating preparation for actual performance. This is why athletes who visualize their performance show improved actual performance. Their brains are literally rehearsing the neural patterns required for success. Research by Dr. Alvaro Pascual Leone demonstrates that visualization can create the same neural changes as actual practice. Participants who visualized piano exercises showed similar brain changes to those who actually practiced, though the effects were strongest when visualization was combined with physical practice. Mental rehearsal and neural preparation. Mental rehearsal involves imagining yourself successfully completing desired actions or achieving specific goals. This process activates the same neural networks involved in actual performance, creating preparation that improves your likelihood of success. The brain cannot distinguish between vividly imagined experiences and real ones, making mental rehearsal a powerful manifestation tool. The process of mental rehearsal involves the premotor cortex, which plans movements, the prefrontal cortex, which maintains goal representations, and the basal ganglia, which learn action sequences. These systems work together to create neural patterns that support successful performance when you encounter real-world opportunities. Effective mental rehearsal requires attention to sensory details, emotional content, and embodied experience. The more completely you can imagine the experience, including how it feels, looks, sounds, and affects your body, the stronger the neural preparation and the more effective the manifestation process. The role of emotion in focused intention. Emotions are not separate from cognition but are integrated neural states that influence all aspects of mental function. In manifestation, emotions serve as the energizing force that transforms thoughts into reality. The limbic system, including the amygdala, hippocampus, and associated structures, creates emotional contexts that either support or undermine your manifestation efforts. Positive emotions like excitement, gratitude, and love activate the brain's reward systems and broaden perception, making you more likely to notice opportunities and take effective action. These emotions also strengthen memory formation, making your visualization and intention setting more memorable and influential. Negative emotions like fear, doubt, and frustration activate the brain's threat detection systems, narrowing attention and reducing creative problem-solving abilities. While these emotions serve important protective functions, they can interfere with manifestation by creating defensive rather than creative neural states. Coherence between brain and heart. The heart has its own neural network, often called the heart-brain, which communicates with the brain through the vagus nerve and other pathways. The Institute of Harmath has conducted extensive research showing that heart rhythm patterns influence brain function, emotion regulation, and cognitive performance. When your heart rhythm is coherent, smooth and regular, it optimizes brain function and creates ideal conditions for manifestation. Heart coherence can be achieved through specific breathing techniques, positive emotions, and focused attention. This coherent state enhances intuition, creativity, and the ability to manifest desired outcomes. The heart-brain connection demonstrates that manifestation is not just a mental process but involves the coordination of multiple physiological systems. By learning to create heart coherence, you can optimize your entire nervous system for manifestation success. The neuroscience of belief formation. Beliefs are neural patterns that represent your understanding of how the world works. These patterns influence perception, memory, and behavior, creating self-fulfilling prophecies that either support or undermine your manifestation efforts. Understanding how beliefs form and change is crucial for effective reality creation. Beliefs form through repetitive experiences that create strong neural pathways. The hippocampus encodes these experiences into memory, while the prefrontal cortex creates conceptual frameworks that organize and interpret them. The amygdala adds emotional significance, making some beliefs more influential than others. Changing limiting beliefs requires creating new neural pathways through repetitive positive experiences. This can be accomplished through visualization, affirmation, and real-world experiences that contradict old beliefs. The key is consistency and emotional engagement, which strengthen new neural patterns while weakening old ones. Synchronicity and neural pattern recognition. Synchronicity, the experience of meaningful coincidences, may be partially explained by the brain's pattern recognition systems. The brain is constantly scanning for patterns and connections, both consciously and unconsciously. When you're focused on a particular goal or outcome, your pattern recognition systems become sensitized to related information and opportunities. This heightened sensitivity makes you more likely to notice synchronicities and opportunities that support your manifestation efforts. What might appear as external coincidences may actually be the result of your brain's enhanced pattern recognition abilities, focused by your clear intention and emotional engagement. The temporal lobe, particularly the right hemisphere, is associated with pattern recognition and the perception of meaningful connections. This region can be activated through meditation, visualization, and other practices that enhance holistic, intuitive thinking. Blank. Chapter 3. The biology of belief and expectation. The neurochemistry of belief systems. Beliefs are not abstract concepts but concrete neurochemical realities that influence every aspect of your physiology. When you hold a belief, specific neural pathways activate, releasing neurotransmitters that reinforce the belief and create physiological changes that support it. This neurochemical foundation of belief is crucial for understanding how beliefs become self-fulfilling prophecies. Dopamine, the neurotransmitter associated with reward and motivation, plays a central role in belief maintenance. When you believe something is possible, dopamine is released, creating feelings of motivation and possibility. This neurochemical state enhances pattern recognition, increases openness to opportunities, and improves performance, all factors that increase the likelihood of achieving your beliefs. Serotonin, associated with mood regulation and social behavior, is influenced by beliefs about self-worth and social acceptance. Positive self-beliefs increase serotonin production, creating feelings of confidence and social ease that support manifestation efforts. Conversely, negative self-beliefs decrease serotonin, creating depression and social withdrawal that hinder manifestation. Oxytocin, the bonding hormone, is released when you believe in connection and love. This neurochemical enhances empathy, trust, and social bonding, creating supportive relationships that facilitate manifestation. Beliefs about isolation and disconnection suppress oxytocin production, creating barriers to the social support necessary for many manifestation goals. The placebo effect in reality creation. The placebo effect demonstrates the power of belief to create measurable physiological changes. When patients believe they're receiving effective treatment, their brains release endorphins, activate immune responses, and create healing effects that can be as powerful as actual medications. This same mechanism operates in manifestation. Your beliefs about what's possible literally change your brain chemistry and influence your reality. Dr. Fabrizio Benedetti's research reveals that placebo effects involve multiple brain systems working in coordination. The prefrontal cortex processes expectation and belief, while the periaqueductal gray releases endorphins that reduce pain. The immune system responds to placebo treatments by increasing natural killer cell activity and reducing inflammatory responses. The placebo effect shows that belief can influence not just psychological states but actual biological processes. This suggests that manifestation may work through similar mechanisms, with beliefs about desired outcomes creating physiological changes that support their achievement. Expectation and predictive processing. Your brain is constantly generating expectations about future events based on past experiences and current context. These expectations influence perception, memory, and behavior, creating feedback loops that tend to confirm predictions. Understanding expectation as a neurological process is crucial for effective manifestation. The process of expectation involves the anterior cingulate cortex, which monitors prediction errors, and the prefrontal cortex, which maintains expectation representations. When reality matches expectations, the brain experiences satisfaction and reinforcement. When reality violates expectations, the brain experiences surprise and updates its predictive models. For manifestation, this means that your expectations literally shape your reality by influencing what you perceive and how you respond to events. Positive expectations create neural states that enhance performance and opportunity recognition, while negative expectations create defensive states that limit possibilities. The neuroscience of self-fulfilling prophecies. Self-fulfilling prophecies occur when beliefs about future events influence behavior in ways that make those events more likely to occur. This process involves multiple brain systems working in coordination to align perception, behavior, and outcomes with expectations. The prefrontal cortex maintains belief representations and guides goal-directed behavior. The anterior cingulate cortex monitors for information that confirms or contradicts beliefs. The limbic system provides emotional energy that motivates behavior consistent with beliefs. The basal ganglia learn behavioral patterns that support belief-consistent outcomes. Research by Dr. Robert Rosenthal demonstrates that teacher expectations about student performance create measurable changes in student achievement. Similar effects occur in many areas of life, suggesting that self-fulfilling prophecies are a fundamental mechanism of reality creation. Limiting beliefs and neural inhibition. Limiting beliefs create neural inhibition that restricts perception, creativity, and behavior. When you believe something is impossible, your brain activates inhibitory networks that prevent you from recognizing opportunities or taking actions that might challenge the belief. This neural inhibition is a protective mechanism that prevents cognitive dissonance but also limits growth and change. The process of limiting belief activation involves the anterior cingulate cortex, which detects conflicts between beliefs and potential actions, and the prefrontal cortex, which inhibits thoughts and behaviors that challenge existing beliefs. This inhibition occurs automatically and unconsciously, making limiting beliefs particularly powerful. Overcoming limiting beliefs requires conscious effort to notice and challenge automatic inhibitory responses. This can be accomplished through mindfulness practices that increase awareness of thought patterns, cognitive restructuring techniques that challenge belief validity, and behavioral experiments that test belief accuracy. The role of confirmation bias. Confirmation bias is the tendency to search for, interpret, and remember information that confirms existing beliefs while ignoring contradictory evidence. This cognitive bias is mediated by the brain's pattern recognition systems and serves to maintain belief consistency and reduce cognitive dissonance. The process of confirmation bias involves the temporal lobe's pattern recognition systems, which are biased toward detecting information that matches existing patterns. The prefrontal cortex then selectively attends to confirming information while inhibiting attention to contradictory evidence. This creates a self-reinforcing cycle that maintains beliefs regardless of objective evidence. For manifestation, confirmation bias can be both helpful and harmful. It helps maintain positive beliefs and expectations by focusing attention on supporting evidence. However, it can also maintain limiting beliefs by preventing recognition of contradictory information. The key is learning to consciously direct confirmation bias toward positive, empowering beliefs. Neuroplasticity and belief change. Beliefs are not fixed but can be changed through neuroplasticity, the brain's ability to reorganize itself throughout life. Changing beliefs requires creating new neural pathways through repetitive experiences that contradict old beliefs while reinforcing new ones. This process can be accelerated through specific techniques that optimize neuroplastic change. The process of belief change involves weakening old neural pathways through disuse while strengthening new pathways through repetition. This requires consistent practice over time, as neural pathways strengthen through repeated activation. The emotional intensity of experiences also influences the speed of belief change, with highly emotional experiences creating faster neural restructuring. Techniques for accelerating belief change include visualization, affirmation, cognitive restructuring, and behavioral experiments. The key is consistency and emotional engagement, which strengthen new neural patterns while weakening old ones. Meditation and mindfulness practices can also facilitate belief change by increasing awareness of thought patterns and reducing automatic reactivity. The social neuroscience of belief. Beliefs are not formed in isolation but are heavily influenced by social interactions and cultural contexts. The brain's social cognition systems, including mirror neurons and theory of mind networks, create unconscious alignment with the beliefs of others. This social influence can either support or undermine individual manifestation efforts. Mirror neurons fire both when you hold a belief and when you observe others expressing similar beliefs. This creates unconscious mimicry of belief patterns, making you more likely to adopt the beliefs of people you spend time with. The stronger your emotional connection to others, the more influence their beliefs have on your own. The theory of mind network, including the medial prefrontal cortex and temporal parietal junction, allows you to understand and predict others' mental states. This network is constantly processing the beliefs and expectations of others, creating social pressure to conform to group beliefs. Understanding this social influence is crucial for maintaining empowering beliefs in challenging social environments. Cognitive dissonance and belief maintenance. Cognitive dissonance occurs when you hold contradictory beliefs or when your beliefs conflict with your experiences. This creates psychological discomfort that motivates changes in belief or behavior to restore consistency. The brain's dissonance reduction systems can either support or hinder manifestation efforts. The anterior cingulate cortex detects conflicts between beliefs and experiences, creating the uncomfortable feeling of dissonance. The prefrontal cortex then works to resolve this dissonance through various mechanisms, including changing beliefs, reinterpreting experiences, or avoiding contradictory information. For manifestation, cognitive dissonance can be a powerful tool for change when used consciously. By deliberately creating dissonance between limiting beliefs and desired outcomes, you can motivate your brain to resolve the conflict by updating beliefs in positive directions. However, unconscious dissonance resolution often maintains limiting beliefs by reinterpreting experiences to fit existing patterns. The neuroscience of faith and trust. Faith and trust are neurological states characterized by reduced activity in the brain's analytical and threat detection systems. When you have faith in an outcome, your prefrontal cortex reduces critical analysis while your limbic system generates positive emotions. This creates an optimal neural state for manifestation by reducing resistance and increasing openness to possibilities. The process of faith involves the anterior cingulate cortex, which reduces conflict monitoring, and the prefrontal cortex, which suspends analytical thinking. The limbic system generates positive emotions that support faith-based thinking. The insular cortex creates embodied feelings of trust and safety that support faith-based action. Faith-based thinking is not irrational but represents a different mode of neural processing that can be highly effective for manifestation. By reducing analytical resistance and increasing emotional engagement, faith creates optimal conditions for belief implementation and reality creation. Expectation and neurochemical priming. Expectations create neurochemical priming that influences perception, emotion, and behavior. When you expect a positive outcome, your brain releases dopamine and other neurotransmitters that enhance motivation and performance. When you expect negative outcomes, stress hormones like cortisol are released, creating defensive states that reduce effectiveness. The process of expectation-based priming involves the prefrontal cortex, which maintains expectation representations, and the limbic system, which generates appropriate emotional responses. The hypothalamus releases hormones that create physiological states consistent with expectations. The basal ganglia learn behavioral patterns that support expected outcomes. This neurochemical priming is largely unconscious but can be influenced through conscious expectation management. By deliberately cultivating positive expectations, you can create neurochemical states that support manifestation. Visualization, affirmation, and mental rehearsal are all techniques for creating positive expectation-based priming. The biology of intuition. Intuition is not mystical but represents rapid, unconscious processing of complex information patterns. The brain's intuitive systems, including the insular cortex and right hemisphere networks, process vast amounts of information below conscious awareness and generate insights that appear as sudden knowing or feeling. The insular cortex integrates interoceptive information from the body with cognitive processing, creating embodied knowledge that appears as gut feelings or intuitive hunches. The right hemisphere's holistic processing networks detect patterns and connections that the left hemisphere's analytical systems might miss. For manifestation, intuition provides guidance about timing, opportunities, and appropriate actions. By learning to recognize and trust intuitive insights, you can navigate toward manifestation goals more effectively. Meditation and mindfulness practices enhance intuitive abilities by increasing awareness of subtle internal signals. Chapter 4. Visualization and Mental Imagery. The neural basis of mental imagery. Mental imagery is not a separate psychological process but involves the same neural networks used for actual perception. When you visualize an object, the visual cortex activates in patterns similar to those created by actually seeing the object. This neural similarity is why visualization can be so effective for manifestation. Your brain processes imagined experiences as if they were real. The process of mental imagery involves multiple brain regions working in coordination. The visual cortex creates the basic imagery, while the parietal cortex adds spatial information and the temporal cortex contributes object recognition and memory. The prefrontal cortex maintains the imagery in working memory and can manipulate it through conscious control. Research by Dr. Stephen Koslin reveals that mental imagery involves both bottom-up processing from sensory memory and top-down processing from conceptual knowledge. This dual processing creates rich, detailed imagery that can be as vivid as actual perception. The strength of mental imagery depends on the vividness of stored memories and the ability to consciously manipulate visual information. The neuroscience of visualization practice. Visualization practice creates measurable changes in brain structure and function. Regular visualization strengthens connections between the prefrontal cortex and sensory areas, making it easier to create vivid mental imagery. These changes occur within weeks of consistent practice and continue to develop over time. The process of visualization practice involves multiple forms of learning. Motor learning occurs when you visualize physical actions, strengthening connections between the prefrontal cortex and motor cortex. Perceptual learning occurs when you visualize sensory experiences, enhancing connections between prefrontal and sensory cortices. Emotional learning occurs when you visualize emotional experiences, strengthening connections between prefrontal and limbic systems. Dr. Alvaro Pascual Leone's research demonstrates that visualization practice can create the same neural changes as actual practice. Participants who visualized piano exercises showed similar brain changes to those who actually practiced, though the effects were strongest when visualization was combined with physical practice. This suggests that visualization is not just mental preparation but actual neural training. Creating vivid mental images. The vividness of mental imagery depends on multiple factors, including the strength of stored memories, the ability to access sensory details, and the capacity for conscious manipulation of imagery. Vivid imagery is more effective for manifestation because it creates stronger neural activation and more realistic preparation for actual experiences. Creating vivid imagery requires attention to multiple sensory modalities. Visual details like colors, shapes, and movements activate the visual cortex. Auditory details like sounds and voices activate the auditory cortex. Tactile details like textures and temperatures activate the somatosensory cortex. The more senses you include, the more vivid and effective your visualization becomes. Emotional content also enhances imagery vividness. The limbic system adds emotional significance to imagined experiences, making them more memorable and influential. Positive emotions like joy and excitement enhance imagery vividness, while negative emotions like fear and anxiety can interfere with clear visualization. The role of memory in visualization. Memory provides the raw material for mental imagery. Your ability to visualize depends on the richness and accessibility of stored memories. Episodic memory contributes personal experiences, semantic memory provides conceptual knowledge, and procedural memory supplies action sequences. The integration of these memory systems creates comprehensive visualization experiences. The hippocampus plays a crucial role in memory-based visualization by reconstructing past experiences and combining them into new scenarios. This process involves both accurate recall and creative reconstruction, allowing you to visualize experiences that never actually occurred. The prefrontal cortex guides this process by maintaining goals and monitoring the relevance of retrieved memories. Working memory limitations affect visualization complexity. You can only maintain a limited amount of visual information in consciousness simultaneously, which means effective visualization often involves sequential focus on different aspects of desired outcomes rather than trying to visualize everything at once. This limitation can be overcome through practice and by breaking complex visualizations into manageable components. Embodied visualization techniques. Embodied visualization involves including bodily sensations and physical responses in your mental imagery. This approach activates the somatosensory cortex and motor cortex, creating more complete neural representations of desired experiences. The inclusion of physical sensations makes visualization more realistic and effective for manifestation. The process of embodied visualization involves imagining how success would feel in your body. This includes physical sensations like muscle tension, breathing patterns, posture, and movement. The motor cortex activates when you imagine performing actions, creating neural preparation for actual performance. The somatosensory cortex responds to imagined physical sensations, creating embodied knowledge of desired experiences. Research by Dr. Beatriz Calvo-Marino demonstrates that dancers who visualize dance movements show greater activation in motor and somatosensory cortices compared to non-dancers. This suggests that embodied visualization is most effective when you have actual physical experience to draw upon. However, even without direct experience, embodied visualization can create beneficial neural changes. The science of mental rehearsal. Mental rehearsal involves systematically visualizing yourself successfully completing desired actions or achieving specific goals. This process activates the same neural networks involved in actual performance, creating preparation that improves your likelihood of success. The effectiveness of mental rehearsal depends on the specificity and realism of the visualization. The neural basis of mental rehearsal involves the premotor cortex, which plans movements, the supplementary motor area, which coordinates complex actions, and the cerebellum, which refines motor patterns. These systems work together to create neural templates that guide actual performance. The more detailed and realistic your mental rehearsal, the stronger the neural preparation. Elite athletes use mental rehearsal extensively to improve performance. Research by Dr. Robin Veely shows that athletes who engage in systematic mental rehearsal show greater improvements in performance compared to those who rely on physical practice alone. The combination of mental and physical practice creates optimal neural preparation for peak performance. Multisensory visualization. Multisensory visualization involves consciously including multiple sensory modalities in your mental imagery. This approach creates more vivid and complete visualizations by activating multiple brain regions simultaneously. The integration of different sensory inputs creates richer neural representations that are more effective for manifestation. Visual imagery forms the foundation of most visualization practices, but adding other senses enhances effectiveness. Auditory imagery includes sounds, voices, and music associated with desired outcomes. Tactile imagery involves textures, temperatures, and physical sensations. Olfactory and gustatory imagery, though less commonly used, can add powerful emotional associations to visualizations. The temporal binding of different sensory inputs creates unified perceptual experiences. The superior temporal sulcus integrates multisensory information, creating coherent representations of complex experiences. This integration is crucial for effective manifestation visualization, as it mirrors the multisensory nature of actual experiences. Emotional visualization techniques. Emotions are not separate from visualization but are integral to creating effective mental imagery. Emotional content enhances visualization vividness, improves memory formation, and increases motivation. The limbic system's emotional processing networks work in conjunction with imagery networks to create compelling visualizations. The process of emotional visualization involves consciously generating feelings associated with desired outcomes. This requires accessing emotional memory systems and imagining how success would feel emotionally. Joy, gratitude, pride, and love are particularly effective emotions for manifestation visualization, as they activate approach rather than avoidance motivational systems. The amygdala adds emotional significance to visualized experiences, making them more memorable and influential. The nucleus accumbens responds to imagined rewards, creating motivation to pursue visualized goals. The anterior cingulate cortex monitors emotional content and can enhance or diminish emotional responses through conscious control. Temporal aspects of visualization. The timing and sequencing of visualization exercises affect their effectiveness. The brain processes temporal information differently during imagination compared to actual experience, which creates both opportunities and challenges for manifestation visualization. Understanding these temporal dynamics can improve visualization effectiveness. Perspective visualization involves imagining future desired outcomes and working backward to identify necessary steps. This process activates the brain's planning networks and creates roadmaps for goal achievement. The prefrontal cortex specializes in future-oriented thinking and can maintain complex temporal sequences in working memory. Process visualization involves systematically imagining the steps required to achieve desired outcomes. This approach activates procedural memory systems and creates behavioral preparation for goal pursuit. The basal ganglia learn action sequences through process visualization, making it easier to execute necessary behaviors when opportunities arise. The role of symbolism in visualization. Symbolic imagery can be particularly powerful for manifestation because symbols condense complex meanings into simple, memorable forms. The right hemisphere of the brain specializes in symbolic processing and can generate insights and connections that purely literal visualization might miss. Archetypal symbols, such as mountains representing challenges, water representing emotions, or light representing consciousness, carry universal meanings that resonate across cultures. These symbols activate deep psychological associations and can enhance the emotional impact of visualization exercises. Personal symbols based on individual experiences and associations can be even more powerful than universal symbols. The hippocampus stores personal memories associated with specific symbols, making them effective triggers for desired emotional states and behavioral patterns. Visualization and neuroplasticity. Regular visualization practice creates lasting changes in brain structure and function through neuroplasticity. These changes include increased gray matter density in imagery-related brain regions, stronger connections between prefrontal and sensory cortices, and enhanced ability to generate vivid mental images. The process of visualization-induced neuroplasticity involves multiple mechanisms. Synaptic plasticity occurs when repeated visualization strengthens connections between neurons. Structural plasticity occurs when new neural pathways form through repeated activation. Functional plasticity occurs when brain regions become more efficient at imagery-related processing. Research by Dr. Simone Kuhn demonstrates that participants who engaged in daily visualization practice for 8 weeks showed increased gray matter density in the prefrontal cortex and enhanced connectivity between prefrontal and sensory regions. These changes persisted for months after visualization practice ended, suggesting that the benefits of visualization training are long-lasting. Obstacles to effective visualization. Several common obstacles can interfere with effective visualization, including poor concentration, limiting beliefs, negative emotions, and insufficient sensory detail. Understanding these obstacles and developing strategies to overcome them is crucial for successful manifestation practice. Concentration difficulties often stem from an overactive default mode network, which generates mind-wandering and distracting thoughts. Meditation and mindfulness practices can improve concentration by training the ability to sustain attention on chosen objects while inhibiting distracting stimuli. Limiting beliefs can create cognitive interference that disrupts visualization. When you try to visualize something you don't believe is possible, the anterior cingulate cortex detects the conflict and generates resistance. Addressing limiting beliefs through cognitive restructuring or gradual exposure can reduce this interference. Negative emotions like fear, doubt, and anxiety can overwhelm visualization exercises and create visualizations of negative outcomes rather than positive ones. Emotional regulation techniques, including breathing exercises and positive emotion cultivation, can create optimal emotional states for effective visualization. Advanced visualization strategies. Advanced visualization strategies involve sophisticated techniques that optimize neural activation and enhance manifestation effectiveness. These strategies require developed visualization skills and regular practice to implement effectively. Progressive visualization involves gradually increasing the complexity and vividness of mental imagery over time. This approach allows your brain to adapt to increasingly sophisticated visualization demands while building confidence and skill. Starting with simple, clear images and gradually adding detail and complexity creates optimal learning conditions. Perspective shifting involves visualizing desired outcomes from multiple viewpoints, including first-person, third-person, and observer perspectives. This technique activates different neural networks and creates more comprehensive representations of desired experiences. The ability to shift perspectives consciously enhances flexibility and creativity in manifestation work. Temporal compression involves visualizing extended processes in compressed time frames, allowing you to mentally rehearse complex sequences quickly and efficiently. This technique is particularly useful for visualizing long-term goals and complex behavioral sequences. Integration with physical practice. Visualization is most effective when combined with physical practice and real-world action. The combination of mental and physical training creates optimal neural preparation and skill development. This integration principle applies to all areas of manifestation, from career goals to relationship objectives. The process of integration involves alternating between visualization and physical practice, with each modality reinforcing the other. Visualization before physical practice creates neural preparation, while visualization after physical practice consolidates learning and enhances memory formation. Research in sports psychology demonstrates that athletes who combine mental and physical training show greater improvements than those who use either approach alone. The same principle applies to manifestation. Combining visualization with appropriate action creates optimal conditions for goal achievement. _. Chapter 5. The Power of Emotion in Manifestation. The Neuroscience of Emotion. Emotions are not simply feelings but complex neural states that integrate cognitive, physiological, and behavioral responses. The limbic system, including the amygdala, hippocampus, anterior cingulate cortex, and associated structures, creates emotional experiences that profoundly influence perception, memory, and behavior. Understanding the neuroscience of emotion is crucial for effective manifestation. The amygdala serves as the brain's threat detection system, rapidly evaluating stimuli for emotional significance. When the amygdala detects emotional importance, it triggers cascades of neurochemical responses that affect the entire brain and body. This emotional processing occurs milliseconds before conscious awareness, meaning your emotional responses shape your reality before you're consciously aware of them. The hippocampus integrates emotional experiences with memory formation, creating emotionally charged memories that influence future behavior. Emotional memories are more vivid, persistent, and influential than neutral memories because they involve additional neural networks and neurochemical processes. This emotional memory system is crucial for manifestation because it stores the emotional associations that drive motivation and behavior. The anterior cingulate cortex monitors emotional conflicts and integrates emotional information with cognitive processing. This region plays a crucial role in emotional regulation and can consciously modify emotional responses through top-down control. The ability to regulate emotions while maintaining their motivational benefits is essential for effective manifestation. Emotional states and reality perception. Your emotional state fundamentally shapes how you perceive and interpret reality. Positive emotions broaden attention and increase openness to new possibilities, while negative emotions narrow attention and activate defensive responses. This emotional influence on perception is not subjective but involves measurable changes in brain activity and cognitive processing. Dr. Barbara Fredrickson's research on positive emotions reveals that states like joy, gratitude, and love create, broaden and build effects that expand awareness and build psychological resources. These positive emotional states enhance creativity, problem-solving ability, and social connection, all factors that support successful manifestation. Negative emotions like fear, anger, and sadness create narrow and focused effects that concentrate attention on immediate threats while ignoring broader possibilities. While these emotions serve important protective functions, they can interfere with manifestation by creating tunnel vision that prevents recognition of opportunities and creative solutions. The prefrontal cortex can consciously regulate emotional states through techniques like cognitive reappraisal and emotional regulation. This top-down control allows you to maintain positive emotional states that support manifestation while acknowledging and addressing negative emotions when they arise. The neurochemistry of positive emotions. Positive emotions create specific neurochemical states that optimize brain function for manifestation. Understanding these neurochemical processes allows you to consciously cultivate emotional states that support your reality creation efforts. Dopamine, often called the reward chemical, is released during positive emotional states and creates feelings of motivation and possibility. This neurotransmitter enhances pattern recognition, increases goal-directed behavior, and creates the drive to pursue desired outcomes. Dopamine is particularly important for manifestation because it transforms desires into motivated action. Serotonin regulates mood and social behavior, creating feelings of well-being and social connection. Higher serotonin levels increase confidence, reduce anxiety, and enhance social skills, all factors that support manifestation in social contexts. Serotonin also influences sleep quality and appetite, affecting overall energy and motivation. Oxytocin, the bonding hormone, is released during experiences of love, trust, and connection. This neurochemical enhances empathy, reduces social anxiety, and creates feelings of safety and belonging. Oxytocin is particularly important for manifestation goals that involve relationships or social success. Endorphins, the body's natural opiates, are released during positive emotional states and create feelings of euphoria and well-being. These neurochemicals reduce pain perception, increase pleasure, and create resilience in the face of challenges. Endorphins help maintain positive emotional states even when facing obstacles to manifestation. Emotional regulation for manifestation. Emotional regulation is the ability to consciously influence your emotional experiences to achieve desired outcomes. This skill is crucial for manifestation because it allows you to maintain positive emotional states that support your goals while managing negative emotions that might interfere with success. The prefrontal cortex plays a central role in emotional regulation through its connections with limbic structures. Cognitive reappraisal involves consciously reinterpreting emotional stimuli to change their emotional impact. This technique can transform obstacles into opportunities and setbacks into learning experiences. Attention regulation involves consciously directing attention toward positive aspects of experiences while reducing focus on negative aspects. This technique doesn't involve denying negative realities but rather choosing to emphasize positive possibilities and opportunities for growth. Emotional suppression, while sometimes necessary, can be counterproductive for manifestation because it requires cognitive resources and can create rebound effects. More effective approaches involve acknowledging negative emotions while consciously cultivating positive ones. The role of gratitude in manifestation. Gratitude is a powerful positive emotion that creates optimal neurochemical conditions for manifestation. Research by Dr. Robert Emmons demonstrates that gratitude practice increases dopamine and serotonin production, improves immune function, and enhances overall well-being. These effects create ideal conditions for manifestation success. The neuroscience of gratitude involves the anterior cingulate cortex, which processes the emotional significance of positive experiences, and the prefrontal cortex, which maintains gratitude-related thoughts and memories. Regular gratitude practice strengthens these neural networks, making it easier to access grateful states and their associated benefits. Gratitude also activates the brain's reward systems, creating positive feedback loops that reinforce optimistic thinking and positive behavior. This neurochemical reward makes gratitude practice self-reinforcing, creating sustainable positive changes in brain function and reality perception. The practice of gratitude can be enhanced through specific techniques such as gratitude journaling, gratitude meditation, and gratitude visualization. These practices create neuroplastic changes that make grateful thinking more automatic and influential in daily life. Fear and limiting emotions. Fear and other limiting emotions can significantly interfere with manifestation by creating defensive neural states that narrow perception and reduce creative thinking. Understanding the neuroscience of fear and other negative emotions is crucial for learning to work with them effectively. The amygdala's fear response is designed to protect you from immediate threats, but it can also respond to imagined threats related to manifestation goals. Fear of failure, fear of success, and fear of change can all activate stress responses that interfere with the positive emotional states necessary for effective manifestation. Chronic fear and anxiety create elevated cortisol levels that impair memory formation, reduce immune function, and interfere with sleep quality. These physiological effects reduce the energy and cognitive resources available for manifestation work, creating a cycle of limitation and reduced effectiveness. The key to working with fear is not to eliminate it but to acknowledge its protective function while preventing it from controlling your behavior. Techniques like mindfulness meditation, cognitive restructuring, and gradual exposure can help you develop a healthier relationship with fear and other limiting emotions. Emotional contagion and social influence. Emotions are contagious through unconscious neural processes that synchronize emotional states between individuals. This emotional contagion can either support or undermine your manifestation efforts depending on the emotional states of people in your environment. Mirror neurons create automatic mimicry of others' emotional expressions, leading to unconscious emotional synchronization. This process is mediated by the premotor cortex and inferior parietal lobe, which create neural simulations of observed emotional states. The more time you spend with emotionally positive people, the more your own emotional states will align with theirs. The social brain networks, including the medial prefrontal cortex and temporal parietal junction, constantly monitor and respond to others' emotional states. This social emotional processing can override individual emotional regulation efforts, making it important to consciously choose social environments that support positive emotional states. Creating positive emotional contagion involves consciously expressing positive emotions in social situations, which triggers mirror neuron responses in others and creates upward spirals of positive emotion. This social amplification of positive emotions can significantly enhance manifestation effectiveness. Emotional memory and manifestation. Emotional memories are more vivid, persistent, and influential than neutral memories because they involve additional neural networks and neurochemical processes. The hippocampus and amygdala work together to create emotionally charged memories that influence future behavior and expectations. Positive emotional memories create optimistic expectations and confident behavior, while negative emotional memories create pessimistic expectations and defensive behavior. The content of your emotional memory system significantly influences your manifestation potential by shaping your unconscious expectations and behavioral patterns. Emotional memory reconsolidation occurs when memories are recalled and can be modified through new experiences. This process allows you to update limiting emotional memories by pairing them with positive experiences during recall. Visualization and other manifestation techniques can be used to reconsolidate emotional memories in more positive directions. The creation of positive emotional memories through visualization and actual experience is crucial for long-term manifestation success. These positive memories provide the emotional foundation for confident expectation and motivated behavior. The neuroscience of passion and purpose. Passion and purpose are emotional states that create optimal conditions for manifestation by aligning conscious goals with unconscious motivational systems. These states involve the coordinated activation of multiple brain networks, including reward systems, executive control networks, and emotional processing centers. The experience of passion involves the release of dopamine, norepinephrine, and other neurochemicals that create feelings of energy, focus, and motivation. These neurochemical states enhance cognitive performance, increase perseverance, and create the sustained effort necessary for achieving significant manifestation goals. Purpose involves the integration of personal values with goal-directed behavior, creating meaning and significance that transcend immediate pleasure or pain. The anterior cingulate cortex and prefrontal cortex work together to maintain purpose-related representations and guide behavior toward meaningful outcomes. Research by Dr. Patricia Boyle demonstrates that individuals with a strong sense of purpose show greater resilience, better health outcomes, and increased longevity. These benefits create optimal conditions for long-term manifestation success by providing the energy and perseverance necessary for sustained effort. Emotional coherence and heart-brain connection. The heart has its own neural network that communicates with the brain through the vagus nerve and other pathways. Heart rhythm patterns influence brain function, emotional regulation, and cognitive performance. Understanding this heart-brain connection is crucial for optimizing emotional states for manifestation. Heart rate variability, HRV, reflects the balance between sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous system activity. Higher HRV indicates better emotional regulation, improved cognitive performance, and greater resilience to stress. These factors create optimal conditions for manifestation by maintaining positive emotional states and clear thinking. The Institute of HeartMath has developed techniques for creating heart rhythm coherence through specific breathing patterns and positive emotion cultivation. Heart coherence creates optimal conditions for manifestation by synchronizing heart and brain rhythms and creating physiological states that support positive emotions and clear thinking. Coherence breathing involves inhaling for 5 seconds and exhaling for 5 seconds while focusing on positive emotions like gratitude or appreciation. This technique creates heart rhythm coherence within minutes and can be used to optimize emotional states for manifestation practice. Emotional flexibility and resilience. Emotional flexibility is the ability to adapt emotional responses to changing circumstances while maintaining overall positive emotional states. This skill is crucial for manifestation because it allows you to navigate challenges and setbacks while maintaining the emotional conditions necessary for success. The prefrontal cortex plays a central role in emotional flexibility by monitoring emotional states and adjusting responses based on context and goals. This executive control system can override automatic emotional responses and generate more adaptive emotional states when necessary. Resilience involves the ability to maintain positive emotional states and recover quickly from negative experiences. This capacity depends on strong connections between the prefrontal cortex and limbic structures, which can be strengthened through meditation, visualization, and other practices. Building emotional flexibility and resilience requires practicing emotional regulation techniques, developing stress management skills, and cultivating positive emotional states through regular practice. These capacities create the emotional foundation necessary for sustained manifestation success. Chapter 6. Neuroplasticity and Rewiring Your Brain. The Science of Neuroplasticity. Neuroplasticity is the brain's remarkable ability to reorganize itself throughout life by forming new neural connections, modifying existing ones, and even generating new neurons. This fundamental property of the nervous system is the biological foundation that makes manifestation possible. Understanding neuroplasticity reveals how your thoughts, emotions, and behaviors can literally reshape your brain to support new realities. The discovery of neuroplasticity revolutionized neuroscience and our understanding of human potential. Previously, scientists believed that the adult brain was fixed and unchangeable after a critical period in early development. However, research by pioneers like Dr. Michael Merzenich and Dr. Norman Doidge has demonstrated that the brain remains plastic throughout life, capable of significant reorganization in response to experience. Neuroplasticity operates through multiple mechanisms. Synaptic plasticity involves changes in the strength of connections between neurons, with frequently used connections becoming stronger and unused connections becoming weaker. This process follows the principle, neurons that fire together wire together, making repetitive thoughts and behaviors increasingly automatic and influential. Structural plasticity involves physical changes in brain structure, including the growth of new dendrites, the formation of new synapses, and even the generation of new neurons in certain brain regions. These structural changes occur in response to learning, practice, and experience, creating lasting modifications in brain function. Functional plasticity allows brain regions to adapt their functions based on demand and damage. If one area of the brain is damaged, other areas can sometimes take over its functions. This adaptability demonstrates the brain's remarkable capacity for reorganization and recovery. Mechanisms of neural change. The process of neural change involves complex molecular and cellular mechanisms that respond to experience and environmental demands. Understanding these mechanisms provides insight into how to optimize brain changes for manifestation success. Long-term potentiation, LTP, is the cellular mechanism underlying learning and memory formation. When neurons are repeatedly activated together, the synaptic connections between them strengthen, making future activation more likely. This process involves changes in receptor sensitivity, protein synthesis, and gene expression that create lasting structural modifications. Brain-derived neurotrophic factor, BDNF, is a protein that promotes the growth and survival of neurons. BDNF levels increase in response to learning, exercise, and positive experiences, creating optimal conditions for neuroplastic change. Understanding how to naturally increase BDNF production can accelerate the brain changes necessary for manifestation. Myelin, the fatty substance that insulates nerve fibers, increases in response to repetitive neural activity. This myelination process, which can occur throughout life, increases the speed and efficiency of neural transmission. Skills and thought patterns that are practiced regularly become more efficient through increased myelination. Neurogenesis, the generation of new neurons, occurs throughout life in certain brain regions, particularly the hippocampus. This process is enhanced by learning, exercise, and enriched environments while being suppressed by stress and depression. New neurons contribute to learning, memory, and emotional regulation. The role of repetition in brain change. Repetition is the key to creating lasting neural changes. The brain's plasticity mechanisms are triggered by consistent, repeated experiences that signal the importance of specific neural patterns. Understanding how to structure repetitive practice optimally is crucial for effective manifestation. The spacing effect demonstrates that distributed practice over time is more effective than massed practice for creating lasting neural changes. Rather than practicing manifestation techniques for hours at a time, shorter sessions spread throughout the day and week create more effective neuroplastic changes. Interleaving involves mixing different types of practice within the same session. For manifestation, this might involve alternating between visualization, affirmation, and emotional regulation exercises. This varied practice creates more robust neural networks and prevents the brain from becoming too specialized in single techniques. Progressive overload involves gradually increasing the difficulty or complexity of practice over time. As your brain adapts to current manifestation practices, introducing new challenges prevents plateau and continues to stimulate neuroplastic change. Environmental influences on neuroplasticity. Your environment significantly influences your brain's plastic changes. Physical, social, and cognitive environments all contribute to the direction and extent of neural reorganization. Understanding these environmental factors allows you to create optimal conditions for manifestation supporting brain changes. Enriched environments that provide novelty, challenge, and social interaction promote neuroplasticity and brain health. These environments increase BDNF production, stimulate neurogenesis, and create more complex neural networks. Creating an enriched environment for manifestation practice enhances the effectiveness of your efforts. Stress is one of the most significant inhibitors of neuroplasticity. Chronic stress increases cortisol levels, which suppresses BDNF production, inhibits neurogenesis, and can actually shrink brain regions like the hippocampus. Managing stress through relaxation techniques, meditation, and lifestyle changes is crucial for optimal brain change. Social connections and relationships significantly influence neuroplasticity. Positive social interactions increase oxytocin production, reduce stress hormones, and create supportive environments for brain change. Surrounding yourself with positive, supportive people enhances the neuroplastic effects of manifestation practice. Sleep and neuroplasticity. Sleep plays a crucial role in consolidating neuroplastic changes and optimizing brain function. During sleep, the brain strengthens important neural connections while eliminating unnecessary ones, a process called synaptic homeostasis. Understanding the relationship between sleep and neuroplasticity is essential for effective manifestation. During REM sleep, the brain processes emotional experiences and consolidates procedural memories. This sleep stage is particularly important for integrating visualization and emotional regulation practices. Adequate REM sleep enhances the effectiveness of manifestation techniques by consolidating the neural changes they create. Slow-wave sleep is crucial for memory consolidation and neural restoration. During this phase, the brain clears metabolic waste products and strengthens synaptic connections formed during waking hours. Poor sleep quality can significantly impair the neuroplastic effects of manifestation practice. Sleep optimization techniques include maintaining consistent sleep schedules, creating optimal sleep environments, and using relaxation techniques before bedtime. These practices enhance the brain's ability to consolidate the neural changes created through manifestation work. Meditation and brain change. Meditation is one of the most powerful tools for inducing positive neuroplastic changes. Research by Dr. Sarah Lazar and others has demonstrated that meditation practice creates measurable changes in brain structure and function that support enhanced awareness, emotional regulation, and cognitive performance. Mindfulness meditation increases gray matter density in brain regions associated with attention, emotional regulation, and self-awareness. These changes occur within 8 weeks of regular practice and continue to develop over time. The enhanced brain function resulting from meditation creates optimal conditions for manifestation success. Loving-kindness meditation increases activity in brain regions associated with empathy and compassion while reducing activity in areas associated with negative emotions. These changes create more positive emotional states and improved social connections, both of which support manifestation efforts. Concentration meditation strengthens attention networks in the brain, improving the ability to maintain focus on desired outcomes. The enhanced attention control resulting from meditation practice makes visualization and other manifestation techniques more effective. Cognitive training and neural enhancement. Cognitive training involves systematically practicing mental exercises designed to improve specific cognitive abilities. This approach can enhance the brain functions necessary for effective manifestation, including attention, working memory, and executive control. Working memory training involves exercises that challenge the brain's ability to hold and manipulate information in consciousness. Improved working memory capacity enhances the ability to maintain complex visualizations and coordinate multiple manifestation techniques simultaneously. Attention training involves practices that improve the ability to sustain focus while inhibiting distracting stimuli. Enhanced attention control is crucial for effective manifestation because it allows you to maintain focus on desired outcomes while ignoring contradictory information. Executive function training involves exercises that improve planning, decision-making, and cognitive flexibility. These enhanced cognitive abilities support manifestation by improving goal setting, strategy development, and adaptive responses to changing circumstances. The role of novelty in brain change. Novelty is a powerful trigger for neuroplastic change. The brain's response to new experiences involves the release of dopamine and other neurochemicals that enhance learning and memory formation. Incorporating novelty into manifestation practice can accelerate the brain changes necessary for success. Novel experiences activate the brain's attention networks and create strong memory traces. This enhanced encoding makes novel experiences more influential in shaping future behavior and expectations. Using novel visualization scenarios and manifestation techniques can increase their effectiveness. The novelty effect demonstrates that new experiences are more engaging and memorable than familiar ones. This effect can be harnessed in manifestation practice by regularly introducing new elements to visualization exercises and changing practice routines to maintain engagement. Optimal novelty involves introducing new elements while maintaining familiar foundations. Too much novelty can be overwhelming and counterproductive, while too little novelty leads to habituation and reduced effectiveness. Finding the optimal balance enhances the neuroplastic effects of manifestation practice. Exercise and brain enhancement. Physical exercise is one of the most powerful stimulators of neuroplasticity. Exercise increases BDNF production, stimulates neurogenesis, and creates optimal conditions for brain change. Understanding the relationship between exercise and neuroplasticity can enhance manifestation effectiveness. Aerobic exercise has the most robust effects on neuroplasticity, increasing BDNF levels and stimulating the growth of new neurons in the hippocampus. This enhanced neuroplasticity improves learning, memory, and emotional regulation, all factors that support manifestation success. Resistance training also promotes neuroplasticity, particularly in brain regions associated with executive function and attention. The cognitive demands of complex resistance exercises stimulate brain adaptation and enhancement. The timing of exercise relative to manifestation practice can influence its effectiveness. Exercise before manifestation practice can enhance focus and motivation, while exercise after practice can consolidate the neural changes created during the session. Nutrition and neural health. Nutrition significantly influences neuroplasticity and brain health. Certain nutrients support the molecular processes involved in neural change, while others can inhibit these processes. Understanding nutritional factors can optimize the brain changes necessary for manifestation. Omega-3 fatty acids, particularly DHA, are essential for brain structure and function. These fatty acids support synaptic plasticity, reduce inflammation, and enhance cognitive performance. Adequate omega-3 intake is crucial for optimal neuroplastic change. Antioxidants protect the brain from oxidative stress and inflammation that can inhibit neuroplasticity. Fruits, vegetables, and other antioxidant-rich foods support brain health and enhance the capacity for neural change. Protein provides the amino acids necessary for neurotransmitter synthesis and neural growth. Adequate protein intake supports the molecular processes involved in neuroplastic change and brain enhancement. Reversing negative neural patterns. Neuroplasticity works in both directions. It can create positive changes or reinforce negative patterns. Understanding how to reverse negative neural patterns is crucial for effective manifestation, as limiting beliefs and negative emotional patterns can interfere with success. The process of neural pattern reversal involves both weakening old patterns and strengthening new ones. Old patterns weaken through disuse, while new patterns strengthen through repetition and emotional engagement. This process requires patience and persistence, as neural changes occur gradually over time. Cognitive restructuring involves consciously identifying and challenging negative thought patterns while practicing positive alternatives. This process creates new neural pathways that compete with old patterns and eventually replace them. Emotional regulation techniques can interrupt negative emotional patterns and create positive alternatives. The conscious cultivation of positive emotions creates neural patterns that support manifestation while weakening patterns associated with limitation and negativity. The timeline of neural change. Understanding the timeline of neural change helps set realistic expectations for manifestation practice. Different types of neural changes occur at different rates, from immediate functional changes to long-term structural modifications. Immediate changes occur within minutes to hours of practice and involve functional modifications in neural activity. These changes include improved attention, enhanced mood, and increased motivation. While temporary, these immediate changes can be reinforced through regular practice. Short-term changes occur within days to weeks of consistent practice and involve strengthening of existing neural connections. These changes include improved skill performance, enhanced emotional regulation, and increased cognitive flexibility. Long-term changes occur over months to years and involve structural modifications in brain anatomy. These changes include increased gray matter density, enhanced white matter integrity, and improved neural efficiency. Long-term changes are more permanent and represent fundamental alterations in brain function. Optimizing your neuroplasticity. Several strategies can optimize your brain's plasticity for manifestation success. These strategies involve lifestyle factors, practice techniques, and environmental modifications that enhance the brain's capacity for positive change. Timing practice sessions to align with natural circadian rhythms can enhance neuroplastic effects. Morning practice sessions often benefit from higher cortisol levels and increased alertness, while evening sessions can benefit from enhanced relaxation and memory consolidation. Combining different types of practice within the same session can create more robust neural changes. Alternating between visualization, affirmation, and emotional regulation exercises activates different brain networks and creates more comprehensive neural adaptations. Creating consistent practice routines helps establish neural patterns that support manifestation. Regular practice times, locations, and sequences create conditioned responses that enhance the effectiveness of manifestation techniques. Progressive challenge involves gradually increasing the difficulty of manifestation practices as your skills develop. This approach prevents plateaus and continues to stimulate neuroplastic change by challenging the brain with new demands. Chapter 7. The Default Mode Network and Self-Concept. Understanding the Default Mode Network. The Default Mode Network, DMN, is a network of brain regions that becomes active when you're not focused on specific tasks and your mind is wandering. This network, discovered by Dr. Marcus Reichel, plays a crucial role in self-referential thinking, autobiographical memory, and envisioning future scenarios. Understanding the DMN is essential for effective manifestation because it's where your sense of self and personal narrative are constructed and maintained. The DMN includes several key brain regions working in coordination. The medial prefrontal cortex is involved in self-referential thinking and social cognition. The posterior cingulate cortex contributes to autobiographical memory and self-awareness. The angular gyrus integrates information from different brain regions to create coherent self-narratives. The hippocampus contributes episodic memories that form the foundation of personal identity. When the DMN is functioning optimally, it supports positive self-reflection, creative problem-solving, and constructive future planning. However, when dysregulated, it can generate repetitive negative thoughts, rumination, and limiting self-narratives that interfere with manifestation efforts. Learning to work with the DMN is crucial for creating empowering self-concepts that support desired realities. The DMN is most active during rest periods, but it also activates during certain types of focused activities, particularly those involving self-referential thinking and future planning. Visualization and manifestation exercises naturally engage the DMN, making it a powerful tool for reshaping self-concept and personal narrative. The neuroscience of self-concept. Self-concept is not a fixed entity but a dynamic neural construct shaped by experience, memory, emotion, and social interaction. It resides within the architecture of the default mode network and is constantly updated based on your thoughts, behaviors, and feedback from the environment. The medial prefrontal cortex, a central hub of the DMN, plays a critical role in forming self-related judgments and evaluations. When you reflect on your abilities, worth, or past experiences, this area becomes highly active. The posterior cingulate cortex integrates this self-referential information with memory and awareness, anchoring your sense of identity. Autobiographical memory, stored and retrieved via the hippocampus, feeds into the self-concept by providing continuity across time. When you recall a success or a failure, you strengthen the neural narrative of who you are. This process is not passive. Each recall can subtly modify the memory and reshape your self-perception through reconsolidation. Social input also shapes self-concept through the mirror neuron system and theory of mind networks. These systems simulate how others perceive you and feed those inferences into your self-evaluation processes. Thus, self-concept is a deeply social construct, influenced by both internal cognition and external relationships. Transforming self-concept for manifestation. To manifest a different reality, you must first alter the self-concept that anchors your current one. If your DMN maintains a self-narrative of limitation or lack, your reality will reflect those expectations. But because the DMN is plastic, your self-concept can be reshaped through directed neuroplastic practices. Visualization, when targeted toward identity change, can prime the DMN for a new self-story. By regularly imagining yourself as already having become the version of you who lives your desired reality, you begin to rewrite the autobiographical narrative encoded in your brain. The repetition of these identity-based visualizations strengthens new neural connections and weakens outdated self-schemas. Affirmations work similarly by engaging language-based networks within the DMN. When repeated with emotion and belief, affirmations activate both the prefrontal cortex and limbic system, reinforcing new self-related beliefs. Over time, these statements become integrated into the self-narrative encoded in your DMN. Self-concept transformation is further enhanced through behavioral congruence, acting in alignment with the identity you wish to embody. Neuroscientific research shows that behavior modifies brain structure. The more frequently you act as if you already are the person you aim to become, the more your brain aligns with that identity. Mindfulness and the DMN. Mindfulness meditation has a unique impact on the DMN. Regular mindfulness practice reduces DMN activity associated with rumination and negative self-referential thought while enhancing functional connectivity in regions related to present moment awareness. Research by Dr. Judson Brewer shows that experienced meditators have lower baseline DMN activity and can more easily shift out of self-referential loops. This shift is crucial for manifestation because it reduces the grip of limiting narratives and opens the brain to new possibilities. Mindfulness also increases metacognitive awareness, the ability to observe your thoughts without identifying with them. This awareness allows you to notice limiting self-concepts as transient patterns rather than truths, creating the mental space necessary to install new, empowering identities. Neurofeedback training can further enhance mindfulness by providing real-time feedback on DMN activity, helping individuals learn to regulate self-related neural patterns consciously. This technology shows great promise for accelerating self-concept transformation and manifestation readiness. Conclusion: the brain as the engine of reality. Throughout this audiobook, we've explored how every aspect of manifestation, intention, emotion, belief, attention, visualization, and identity has a basis in neuroscience. The brain is not a passive observer of reality, it is the architect of it. Every thought you think, every emotion you feel, and every belief you hold wires your brain in ways that shape your perception, behavior, and outcomes. Manifestation is not magic, it's neurobiology. Your brain constructs your reality based on the signals you feed it. By understanding and applying the principles of neuroplasticity, attention control, emotional regulation, and self-concept transformation, you can train your brain to perceive and create the life you desire. You now possess the scientific foundation to understand how manifestation works and the practical tools to make it work for you. The power to change your reality lies not in external circumstances but within your own nervous system. The question is not whether you can manifest your desired life. The question is, will you train your brain to believe it, feel it, and act as if it's already true? The neuroscience of manifestation shows us one simple, powerful truth: the brain you rewire is the reality you create.